Anytime we launch a new connector size, we like to do a video showcasing different pipes and tubes that you can utilize with those connectors so you can take advantage of some off the shelf pipes and tubes that you have locally available to you. Now, we recently launched the 1 and 3/8 inch top rail T connector, which is made to fit fencing pipe, but it also has some great possibilities out of the box for working with things like PVC, rigid conduit, black iron pipe, and you can also adapt it to 3/4 and 1 inch EMT conduit or existing pipes and tubes that you might already have on like a boat or on a roof rack, all kinds of different things. We'll talk about all of that in today's video, starting with the things that it fits natively out of the box. So, like I said, it's made for top rail fencing pipe, specifically 1 and 3/8 inch top rail. And that diameter outside is 1.315 or 1 and 3/8 inch. Now, we've talked about it a lot on the channel and it's really confusing. But basically, sometimes you can't really look at the listed trade size of a pipe because it's not the actual outside diameter. In the case of fencing pipe, however, 1 and 3/8 inch top rail is actually, in fact, 1 and 3/8 inch outer diameter. So that means anything that has a 1 and 3/8 inch outer diameter, you can connect to immediately out of the box with the top rail T connector. You don't have to use any adapters or any kind of shims, which is really exciting because there's a few really great options off the shelf that you can use in your builds. One of them is 1 inch PVC pipe. That's an example of one of those that the trade size doesn't match the diameter because it's listed as 1 inch PVC, but it's really 1 and 3/8 inch outer diameter. And as you can see, the top rail T connector connects to it just out of the box natively, and it has a nice strong connection. This is really exciting because you could take advantage of the cost savings of 1 inch PVC, but still be able to build cool things with clamp style connectors and avoid using glue, which is really awesome. And very similar to that, you can also use 1 inch rigid conduit or 1 inch galvanized or black iron pipe to build with the top rail T connectors. And you can utilize the strength that you get from these really rigid and thick pipes and take advantage of clamp style connectors and not have to worry about cutting the pipe and then rethreading it to add the threaded connections. You can just cut it and then clamp the pipes together and take advantage of the strength that you get with those. So that's really exciting. And like I said, any pipe that has a 1 and 3/8 inch outer diameter, you can fit natively, which is really cool. But as we've talked about a lot on the channel, you can also adapt the connectors to other sizes. And whenever you're thinking about shimming the connectors or adapting them, you're basically just thinking about adding diameter to a pipe or tube in order to get to that 1 and 3/8 inch diameter so the connectors can clamp around it. So anytime that you want to adapt to something that you have that's already existing, you basically just want to figure out some way to add diameter, if it's smaller, to that pipe or tube so you can then connect to it and build off of it. Now, a really common example that when we first talked about the top rail T connector, people wanted to be able to use 1 inch and 3/4 inch EMT with their top rail builds. And here's an example of that here. So this could be if you have a fence in place, maybe you want to connect to it with a connector and then build off of it and make some kind of canopy or structure or something with 3/4 and 1 inch EMT conduit. And you can do that by adding diameter to 3/4 and 1 inch EMT and then connecting to it as we just talked about. And what I've found that works is to join 1 inch EMT conduit to the top rail T connector, you want to use a piece of 1 inch PE irrigation tubing. And I'll link it down below so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But basically, you're just going to cut a piece of that, the size of the connection here, and then, or at the top here. And then you're basically just going to add a slit into it so you can add that over top of the EMT conduit. And if you look closely, as I was saying, it just basically adds diameter. So we added that shim and it just increases the diameter of the 1 inch EMT so the connector can clamp around it securely, as you can see here. And the cool thing is you can mix and match. So you could do top rail in 1 inch, you could do PVC in 1 inch EMT, or you could do top rail and 3/4 inch EMT conduit. And very similarly, we just added diameter to the 3/4 inch EMT so that it would fit inside the top rail T and clamp like it's supposed to. And the way that we did that was by adding 3/4 inch PE tubing, so similar to the 1 inch PE tubing, it's just a smaller size. And then we added 1 inch PEX tubing over top of that. So you can basically stack shims to get that diameter that you're after. Now, some of the shims that we cut and sell on the website are made out of PEX tubing and PE tubing, but I'd recommend that you make your own if you're going to be adapting tubes to the top rail T connectors because the ones that we sell and cut are made to fit within the 1-inch EMT connector size, and that dimension isn't the same as the top rail T connector. So you'll want to cut your own, and you can do that with just the handheld pipe cutter, the PVC cutter, and you basically can just cut it to size, and then you're just going to add a slit in it, and then you can add this over top of the pipe. And if you have any issues getting these over top of the pipe, as you can see, it's kind of hard to open up the PEX tubing and get it over top. You can use a hair dryer or a heat gun or something like that to heat it up, and it makes it super easy to put these on. We've gotten lucky with PEX and PE tubing, but we've also seen people use like electrical tape and hockey tape and all kinds of really cool stuff to basically shim that gap and just add diameters so they could connect it to existing pipes and tubes that they already have. But this is really exciting, all kinds of possibilities, and we just wanted to share those with you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.